What's up everybody, CHM Carnivorous here. I hope you're having a wonderful day and a wonderful week. Now today I'm going to talk about 5 traps that all carnivorous plants growers fall into, but especially new growers, that cause them a lot of stress and a lot of frustration as they're starting to get into the process. Now I'm going to go over all 5. I strongly encourage you to follow all 5. Missing any one of these things could result in your plants not making it. In addition, I'm going to give you 2 bonuses that will help you in your journey of growing these plants. Stick around. All right, everybody. So one of the first things that I want to talk about is I spend a lot of time on forums trying to help people grow carnivorous plants, both new and experienced. And the first thing that I want to talk about is misinformation and not trusting certain sources. So the first and foremost thing is there is a lot of sources out there trying to sell you seeds that you have to be very, very careful of. Because of this, a lot of growers get very disappointed because they will buy seeds that they think they're going to get a certain variety, and in fact either get the wrong variety or they don't get a carnivorous plant at all. So make sure that you verify the sources from which you're buying these plants from. That is highly, highly critical for you to have success. Obviously, if they're not carnivorous plants, you won't even get off the ground. And if you happen to buy the wrong thing or seeds that are old, it's going to go really bad for you very fast. The other thing I want to talk about as part of the first point is misinformation. Now, I follow a lot of these forums and there's a lot of peer-to-peer information being given, and I even see some so-called experts giving a lot of information that is completely wrong or unintentionally misleading. And so what this ends up doing is it causes a lot of frustration and confusion and helps perpetuate the wrong information to make these plants extremely hard to grow when in fact they are very easy to grow. So make sure that you know the sources you're getting your information from. I highly recommend channels like this where you can get that information, or reach out to Carnivorous, Predatory Plants, Sarracenia Northwest, any of these places that are going to give you good information, and they are subject matter experts in their field. This is very important. I see a ton of it, and I try to get out in front of it and help people off to the side, try to redirect them, but there's a lot of people who provide the wrong information, sometimes unwillingly or unintentionally rather, and it causes a lot of issues. So make sure that you know the information that you're getting it from. Make sure you know the source that you're getting the information on, and do your homework and understand what you're looking for. You'll see some plants that are trying to sell Venus flytraps that are blue. There are no blue Venus flytraps out there, and so you want to make sure you get that good information and you understand it. Now, point number 2 is understand what your plant needs. Not all plants are created equal, especially when it comes to carnivorous plants. You will see a ton of growers or a ton of new growers rather, who will put their Nepenthes in water and will keep their Droseras out of water, thinking that they're all the same, or they provide different soils. And what ends up happening inevitably is plants die. And that is because they don't understand what it is they're growing before they actually get it. So very, very important. Do your research. I say this in every single video, and it is the #1 factor that is going to help you succeed. Do your research. Understand what you're buying. Understand what the parameters that you'll need for these plants, and provide those plants. What I recommend is looking a lot of peer journals that have been written by experts, even looking on YouTube at different videos of where people are actually going out into the wild and seeing how these plants grow. If you can emulate how these plants grow in the wild, chances are you will be successful. That brings me to the third point. All right, so on that, you have to understand, it's critical that you understand what plant you're buying and what that plant needs long term. It's not just about how it grows now, it's about what it will need for a long-term growth. A lot of people buy Venus flytraps and Sarracenias not understanding that those plants will need dormancy. And if you don't provide dormancy, they'll last for a little bit, they will tire out and die. So it's very important that you understand that. Which brings me to my next point. Understand what your plant is going to look like, not just what it looks like now. So what do I mean by this? A lot of people buy Nepenthes thinking, oh, this is a cute little plant, not understanding that these plants will get enormous. Nepenthes truncatus can get up to 4, 5, even 6 feet wide in diameter. So it's very important that you understand the future state of this plant and not the current state. You need to ask yourself, can you provide care not only for the plant now, but can you provide care for the plant in the future? This is very, very important to the longevity of the plant and also to the longevity of your collection. And to keep you interested, it is important that you be able to provide that specific care to the plant as you go, or else you'll just burn yourself out because you'll feel like you're not able to keep these plants alive. That brings us to the next point. So talking about longevity, long-term of these plants. Now, a lot of people see these big, beautiful pictures on these different channels like mine, like others, and they think, wow, I really want that. So they buy these plants and they expect it to happen right away. Understanding and having real expectations is very critical when growing any plant, specifically carnivorous plants. Some of them take time and are a little bit slower, and some of them take different generations. So what do I mean by that? With Nepenthes, normally you won't see the very large pictures until you've had multiple iterations or multiple basils growing on your plant. That's when they start providing their larger pictures. You can circumvent this a little bit by buying cuttings, which will reduce the amount of time it will take to get that immediate gratification, but just understand what you're buying. Also, pictures are going to look different. There are a lot of juvenile pictures that when you buy your plants young that are going to look wildly different from what your pictures will look like full grown. So understanding that is key. Same thing with any sundew or Venus flytrap. They're going to start off very small and look, for all intents and purposes, very unimpressive. But it's important to note that they will eventually get there, but you have to be patient with them. Which brings us to the bonuses. Bonus number 1. All right, so you've read up on your plants, you understand how to grow them, you understand what they're going to look like long term. Now the goal is, for most collectors, is to get as many of those plants as you can and to one day propagate your plants. So understanding what your plant needs for propagation is key. Nepenthes require a male and a female to be able to propagate, and so that can be a little difficult as females are harder to come by than males. One way to get around this is a lot of growers will know what their plant sex is, and so that you can ask them for a female or a male to help better your chances. Now with sundews, they are self-pollinating. So they can self-pollinate, they flower, the flowers die back, create buds, and you get a whole new set of seed coming in. So that's important to know. But the other thing to note is a lot of these plants, you can use cuttings, not only for Nepenthes, but also cuttings on Drosera, and create clones of all these different plants. Understanding how to do that is key to growing a successful collection and to be able to continue these amazing plants into future generations. So understand what that looks like, understand what those needs are, so that you can best set yourself up for success in the future. That brings me to bonus number 2. So bonus number 2 is very, very, very important. A lot of growers, they buy these plants from either eBay, they'll buy them from any sort of reputable site, and then they just put them right into their collection. This is a big mistake for a couple reasons. One, you want to bag acclimate a lot of your plants, specifically Nepenthes, in order to get them to the same humidity conditions that you have in your care. A lot of these plants grow wildly different in professional growers where they have close to 100% humidity in very controlled climates. And so you want to be able to introduce them slowly so that your plants don't die right off the bat. And number 2, a lot of these plants, for whatever reason or not, will be carrying some sort of pest. The last thing you want to do is spend all this time, money, and resources in having a very healthy collection only to inadvertently introduce pests to your collection, because once they spread, they can be treated, but it is very hard to do. So it is highly critical, very important, that you quarantine your plant at least for a week, if not 2 weeks, in a separate area where you can monitor it for any pests and be able to bag acclimate it to the temperatures in your environment. So that is a quick tutorial on how to best set you up for success when growing carnivorous plants. Now, all these 5 points and these bonuses can be carried across to any type of carnivorous plant you buy, whether it's a Sarracenia, a Darlingtonia, Nepenthes, you name it. These tips will help ensure that you have a healthy growing collection and that you have a healthy growing relationship with these plants, frustration free. Now, there always are going to be a little things here and there that happen. These anomalies will occur, but for the most part, if you follow this recipe, you will have success. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and if you have, please like and subscribe, and please share it with others as we try our best to get these plants out to as many people as we can to ensure that they continue for future generations. As always, have a wonderful day and a wonderful week, and I'll see you soon.